All right, in studio we have Ashley Fox. Welcome, first time here.
Maybe first time here.
How's everything been?
Pretty good, thanks.
So, for our listeners and viewers, why don't you tell everybody who you are and what you've been through? Give me the history.
Sure. I don't really even know where to start. Ashley Fox, new features editor over at the Vindicator and Tribune Chronicle, succeeding Bert Cole, who went on to a different adventure down in Kentucky.
Now, how'd you end up in Kentucky?
He ended up in Kentucky.
Oh,
he's there.
Okay.
He just was friends, networking, and I ended up back at the Tribune Vindicator through networking. So,
okay,
yeah.
All right, but now you're back here.
Now I'm back.
Now you've been in media for quite a long time, and so
on, yeah.
I don't necessarily think the general public knows what's involved in being in media, and you've been different mediums too, and so kind of tell us what's like being a day in the life of.
Well, I guess even if you're a reporter, no matter what it is, you kind of wake up usually, or at least I'll say this is my routine. I would wake up, look at the news, see what was going on, and kind of map out my day that way, check my emails, and then you just start calling, and it's a lot of repetition, even though each day is different.
All right.
That's kind of it. I feel like that's it in a nutshell.
Okay. Did you know you were going to end up in media when you were young?
Yeah. When I was real little.
Okay.
Very little. Because it was like the folks that were on, we were a 33 household, WITV household.
Okay.
So we would watch, we had Stacia Urtis, Len Rome, Stan Boney, Jerry Ricciuti, and I was just fascinated and loved them, all of them. So I just knew it was going to be I think in media somehow. I would always read the Vindicator. Anytime we would take a road trip, I would always look at the different newspapers. So,
all right, role model wise, I mean, who was your big media personality?
Jerry Ricciuti.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, we've had Jerry down here.
Isn't he great?
Great
Love
guy.
him. Yeah.
That iconic look too. I mean, you just know him when you see him.
Oh,
in public.
you do. Yeah. So I mean, just as I actually ended up doing in college, my internship was at KBN, and I got to sit diagonal from him. So how many people get to meet or know their idol or their inspiration in life, and I got to do that, and it was really fun and kind of, I think, maybe weird, meta, I don't know, when I would go on stories and he would be there. I'm like, my gosh, now we're peers. So
did you totally fangirl in front of him?
I still do all the time. I'm like, he probably gets so annoyed with me sometimes. Probably not, because he's super
so
classy.
chill.
He is.
He really is.
But he's probably like, oh my God, Ashley. I don't blame him. No,
so
he's great.
Of the video, the print, where do you find your sweet spot? Where do you like being most?
Writing, so print right now.
Okay.
Yeah, I love it. It's just something I was always good at in school, whether it was junior high, high school, college. Loved writing. The longer, the better. I don't know why. I could just do it.
All right. Were you better at creative writing, or were you?
Yeah, that I guess that and a little bit of research, because journalism is research. I would say it was both. I actually had a class my end of my senior year or my last semester of college, and it was with David Lee Morgan Jr., DLMJ. I love him. And it was a sports writing class. Found out I'm horrible at sports writing.
Okay.
And we did an enterprise, a feature, and he was like, that's what you need to do. He's like, you need to go into feature writing. That's what you're meant to do. And that's what I've done along the way. Had to do some news reporting, but now I do features and get to talk about people.
It's easier. It's better. It's
so great, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. I think if I was chasing stories down and I was, I don't know, that would be grating a little bit.
It can be, I think.
Yeah.
It can be.
All right. So a couple questions here.
Let's
So we talk a lot about artificial intelligence and the role that it's going to play in media in the future, and how much of it can be done by computer versus talent or creative behind it. So what are your thoughts on AI?
I love this question. Okay, so I actually just recently came from the marketing world and did a little bit of copywriting at a couple of local agencies and loved AI. You can't rely on it yet. It does sound like when you read back the stuff, it's like, oh, a computer wrote this.
Yeah, for sure.
So you need somebody to fact check it anyway, too. And people don't realize that. In journalism, I know I personally don't use it because it's that whole ethical thing. you can't do it. That's like making up a quote, You
Right.
just can't do any of that. So I don't know where it's going.
Well, let me lay the groundwork. So a couple of
Yeah.
years from now, this is what it's going to be like. It will be indistinguishable from a human being.
I'm sure, yeah.
But it needs to source original words and written down, and it has to have a sample size that's pretty big, and then it basically just emulates what it's seen before. And so we were talking to one of our customers had purchased material from an actual copywriter, and she had maybe 30 or 40 things done for her business, and once she had a sample size big enough, she was feeding in that original stuff and having AI kind of dress it up, rewrite it, and it would take 40, and it would really make like a good 10 scripted things out of that 40, and it would just keep rehashing it. So in the future, it's going to absolutely need the original works from those people. And you brought up the ethical part of it. Now, do you think, being that it can't do it on its own, it needs other people, you can't exactly pay royalties to the original artist if the internet can get to it? So your thoughts?
I don't even have any yet. I don't. Only because I don't know. It's not something I think that's talked about too much, maybe locally, or if it is, I'm just getting back into it local. I don't know what the conversation is, but if anybody would like to talk about it, I would love to hear what they have to say. You know what I mean? Like,
let's switch out of your theater. So let's just say do the same thing with music or movies. Algorithms looks at movies that did really well at the box office. They pick out the types of characters that people relate to. They make visually a character that looks similar to whatever. And now you've got a movie that didn't have any scriptwriters, any actors, anything, and it's a movie that everybody would go to see. But without the Marvel movies and the big blockbusters, you'd never be able to have that.
yeah, no, it's true. Isn't that like what all the strikes were over earlier?
It was.
In 2023 was how
keeping
do you
their hands out of it.
Yeah. Well, that, and even isn't part of the conversation. How do you compensate people or keep people safe from that? So I guess maybe that might be a question. How do you attribute works? I guess you can even lend it to journalism. How do those papers or those news entities get compensated? I don't know.
For sure. And it's going to sample so many.
wow.
Like, which part of it was from your publication?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? That would be really tough.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah.
But leave it to a reporter to ask a question back at me.
Yeah,
like
I know.
that,
And it's just second nature. So I don't even realize that I do it. So I apologize.
No, that's good. So, as we're looking towards what journalists are going to be like in the future, journalism is really getting beat up. I mean,
It is.
Everybody from, very national syndicated things all the way down to your local. I mean, their company's going out of business every day. So where do you see in 10 years the traditional media being?
I don't know. I feel like social media, I don't know how. I feel like it's going to have some kind of component maybe. People already turn to social media now for so much. Like, there are a couple people, I guess, in my circle where, I'm a reporter, I'm editor. And, I saw this on Instagram, or, I saw this on TikTok. I'm like, okay, well, where was that sourced? Well, that's just what some guy was saying in his basement. I'm like, So I feel like we kind of have that we're combating. So I don't know.
How about from sourcing on your end? I mean, is it harder for you to run across truth versus propaganda or things that were drummed up to feed to journalists so that they'll carry the messages?
No, I don't think so. I think it's the Mahoning Valley. It's pretty prideful anyway here. People are great. And it's any reporter I've met anywhere local or any of the markets that I've worked, you have to start asking questions, and after a while you start to learn where you go, like who those first questions should be aimed toward. So I don't know if that helps.
No,
I don't know.
That's a good response. Good
Thanks.
answer.
It's so weird being on this end. You would think that would be a good interviewee.
No, you don't think you
I don't
are?
know. I don't
You're
know.
doing great.
I don't know.
You're
Thank
doing
you.
Awesome.
Okay,
Yeah.
Thanks.
So at the Vindicator, give me an idea of what your department is now.
Okay, so features. I take care of anything that has the life sections. So like the Valley Grows on Monday, which is gardening. The Sunday stuff, which is all of like the library, this week in history. Like, so when you're looking at the newspaper, I don't want to say it's the stuff that's toward the back, but it's like that whole life section. Anything that has to do with that, I think we have like 5 days. I can't remember off the top of my head. So I go in, start going through all of my story ideas and my emails and start getting my stories straight and start assigning them to the days I need them to run. And the layout team works their magic and makes the stories look great.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what's the staff like at the Vindicator these days? Because I know they transitioned and they had a company that bought the entity, and then what's happened with the Vindicator over the last couple of years?
Vindicator, literally, I didn't know what to believe it, because I wasn't working at the Vindicator yet. I came on the first time right after. I always call it the merger, but right after the Vindicator moved to the Tribune Chronicle. The Chronicle, like they all said, like, people in Mahoning Valley, Mahoning County, they need their paper. And it's true, they did. And they worked so hard that week and put that paper out, and it's all been kind of that way. They have some folks that work remote now down here because it doesn't make sense to go up to Trumbull County every single day.
Right.
Some folks kind of teeter between both, so it just kind of matters. It's all one big team, and it's interesting because journalism can be a very competitive, ruthless industry, and it's not in that newsroom. It's very, hey, I got this story, you take it, this would be good for you, or hey, can you
really?
Yeah, hey, can you help me out with this story? Hey, can you introduce me to this source to help me out, to get this story done? A lot of teamwork. It's amazing. Because it's not about us at the end of the day. It's about getting the stories out to people.
And how is the Vindicator and the Tribune's reach on social media? Where the demographic, the younger group, is where they get their stuff from.
So I'm kind of glad you asked that. I am bringing all the stuff that I've learned social media-wise the last several years. Because I was with the Vindicator Tribune for a couple of years, left in 2021, did some marketing, and then now came back. So I'm teaching, implementing all of these different marketing things, social media things that I've learned, trying to grow and just kind of have fun with it. So if anybody sees it, social media is a little different. That's why we're trying to do some different things. And
it's got a younger vibe to it.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, just trying to have fun. Just try to show culture, try to show you like, hey, this is media, but we have fun too in the newsroom. So
forward looking, besides becoming Gary Chudy, where do you see yourself here in the future? What are your life goals?
I just had this conversation on the way here. I don't know. I really want to see what I can do and help this grow. Try to get some younger people interested in print media. I know people say it's dying. I wouldn't quite say that yet. I don't know if that's rose-colored glasses, but in the next several years, I just want to see us, I want to be a part of something that grows. And I think that we're getting there. So.
Yeah. I usually take the acid test to me is if we didn't have the Vindicator right now, would we build the Vindicator? Do we have something to support it? And I think, just like these buildings downtown, same thing could be said about those, that they probably wouldn't build a 15-story building in Youngstown right now, but we are blessed to have it. And all we have to do is kind of earn it and deserve it, and then we get to keep it.
And nurture it. That is what you mean. Nurture it.
Yeah. And so it is messaging that, what would the era be like if we totally lost local exposure to media? Who would be covering? Syndicated outside people would be reporting stories that happened here, and I think that would be a huge loss.
Well, and I think that's even something that you can kind of even draw back to even AI, is that component of humanity. Like, I know, and I'm sure a lot of people would agree, the Mahoning Valley, Mahoning County, there's a certain, I don't know if it's the pride, that grit, that, like, I'm from Youngstown or I'm from Boardman, like whatever it is, you're from Mahoning County. And how are you going to get that from a reporter that's there immersing themselves into the communities with the stories, telling these local stories? Like, that's how I think you do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it can't be done, I think, Syndicate, but
Lot
then we'll
lot
have
of
AI to do it.
radio, TV,
Yeah.
they're all going in that direction too. So
know.
we have a chance because we still have all this stuff here. And if we can public support it and throw their ad dollars behind it, recruit new talent into it, we'll be in good shape.
Yeah.
All right, Ashley, thank you for coming and talking
Thank
with me.
you so
If
much.
anybody wants to get a hold of you or look into your work, how do they do that?
So pick up a Vindicator, Tribune Chronicle, or please email me story ideas at afox, AFOX, @tribtoday.com.
All right, beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.